Hi, I'm Brenton, author of Dark Wolf's Howl, and today I want to talk about one of the characters in this story. It's a minor character, but one that seemed to leave a big impression on my readers. Of course, I'm talking about Garl, one of the Darkobolos that Elisa befriends when she is in their camp. This is a part of the novel where it's something that I've received a lot of compliments about, including from the first ever reader of Dark Wolf's Howl, who told me that it was the best part of the story. Essentially, it's when Elisa finally understands the true scope of the tragedy that she unleashed, and she realizes that everything is her fault, and finally sort of comes to terms with this fact and the fact that she is the one who has to put things right. It's a really big moment for her, but that is not what I want to talk about today. Instead, I want to focus on Garl, who is one of the Darkobolos, although he's not a typical warrior. Instead, he's shorter, he's not as strong, he's more inquisitive. The others tend to look down on him, hence why he's given the assignment of escorting Elisa around camp. While Elisa is learning the history of the war from the enemy's point of view, Garl is there asking her questions about her people, about humans and elves, and concepts like honor and forgiveness, the latter of which he simply does not understand. This is especially important when Elisa speaks up and defends one of the other perpetrators of, the original heist. This is someone that tried to kill her, and Garl doesn't understand why she would ever do anything for someone who hurt her. Elisa has to explain that she has to forgive him in the hope that other people might forgive her one day for, the fact that she's brought this war back to all the people of the world. And Garl really has to think on this. He really contemplates this idea of honor and forgiveness because it's Elisa who tells him, someone that he looks on as a friend. So at this point, the reader's wondering, well, what's going to happen when Elisa inevitably tries to escape? It's Garl who looks at her as this friend. He says, is he going to go with her? Is he just going to let her go? Is he going to say, no, you can't leave? And try to stop her? What's going to happen? So when Elisa does decide it's time to leave, Garl is right there. And there is this emotional confrontation. One that my very first reader told me was so emotional, she had to stop for a moment to process what happened and collect herself before she could keep going. I won't tell you her exact reaction. I think it would give too much away. But it was a very emotional response, and it made me feel good knowing that I created this event that really reached my audience. So if you would like to know what happens in that moment between Garl and Elisa, I would recommend that you read my novel, Dark Wolf's Howl, available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, through my website, BrentonLillyAuthor.com. And that's about it. Thanks for listening.